So we're going to talk specifically about two masks today. And I was reading an article on Elon Musk, who's no doubt one of the geniuses of our times. And the way he goes about things is absolutely incredible. But he likens it to some of the geniuses before, like Thomas Edison, even Einstein, and going back even further. And it's the concept of getting to principle number one. Principle number one is basically the root, as I understand it, the root of a matter. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's the root of the matter, meaning that you're shedding everything and trying to get to the root understanding. So he uses the example of a statement that was basically put on him that batteries are expensive to make, expensive to produce, and likely the price will never go down, meaning the market will not improve. And so his questioning, getting to principle number one, his questioning was, essentially, what is a battery made up of? And so you had silicon, you had carbon, you had all these other things, that aluminum and all these things that came together. And he says, okay, let's break that down and give me a price on this, on the London exchange, like in the metal exchange. And so they get down and get the price. And so what typically was an $80 per kilowatt, I think it was per kilowatt hour or something like that, cost, they broke down into $8. And so by questioning and not taking something from somebody else, something that was an opinion, something that was rooted in somebody else's experiences, came down to a way to manufacture and produce a battery totally different than what had been done in the past. And of course, you know, some of the history behind what he has done as far as developing Tesla. But he obviously has used Nikola Tesla's genius, if you will, in questioning this as well. Questioning everything and getting to the root principle of it. Thus begins today's lesson. So, my story, I had a conversation with the doctor via text, and one of the things that transpired was some truths that were evident but not seen. They're evident to me but not seen by this other doctor. And this doctor needs to make some changes. And in order to make some changes, they have to get real with where they're at, but not willing to look at the realities of where they're at because they are not questioning and getting to that root level. You see, for me, it became down to a point of I needed to get to the truths, but I couldn't get to the truths that were out there without getting to my own truths. And so I liken it to the two masks. And Dr. Marin, my wife, just eloquently put this. I was explaining to her this concept, and she's like, yeah, it reminds me of the two masks, the black and white masks that are on an opera stage, or like a symbolism of theater, if you will. And I go, it's a perfect example because there are two masks as I see it. There is a mask that you wear, and there's a mask that somebody else wears. There's a mask that you wear, and there's a concept and idea that has a mask as well. Let me explain. In order to see the world from a different view, you have to take your mask off. And that's step one. We've talked about this in the past, but get this concept. Because if you cannot get real with yourself or who you are and get down to the truths and the beliefs and the passion of what you believe at the root, not what you believe in a public circle, not what you believe in a social event, not what you believe online. Because most likely, if you have not questioned these things in the past, you've come down to 100% a lie. You are living with a mask that put on you. Like, in this environment, I'll be this person. In this environment, I'll be this person. And you literally keep yourself from being truly you. And because you are not able to be all of you, what happens is you cannot see the truths of the universe. You can't see the truths in somebody else. And so here with this doctor in a series of texts, I've gotten to a point that I can take off masks. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I don't. I've gotten to that. I used to care what everybody thinks. Kind of an extreme. But I've gotten to this point where I don't give a shit what you think about how I raise my family, how I believe spiritually, the work that I do, why I do what I do, because I am 100% clear that it is a truth by which I'm working from that is deep within me. It is deep and instilled in me. And it's the only way that I can be successful. It's the only way that I can do what I do is to be 100% me. Now, this is hard because oftentimes we get in situations that it's like to make others comfortable or to make myself comfortable, I just put on this mask. And it's easy to put on that mask and then fulfill a role. And we back away from the resistance. Well, this is not comfortable. Versus like literally pushing the mask off in any situation and calling it how you see it. It's not fun. Oftentimes it comes with a lot of resistance. You see, but this is only one step. If you can get to the truths of who you are and what you believe, then you get to see the universal truths, or lack thereof. You start to see that the universe is full of smoke and mirrors. It is smoke and mirrors of what? Other people is wearing the mask. And see, you start to take your mask off and it's like the Matrix. You take that one pill and you get to see everything and you're like, holy shit, that's a lie. That's not true. I can see all the way through this. And you start to see things in a whole different realm. You see that the reality of what you thought was is actually just a layer of masks upon masks upon masks. And this is with people, and this is with concepts, this is with things. And you see, when you start to take, again, peel your mask off, you start to see for the first time. And not with like anger or pity, that you see other people and how they come to a position, how they show up. And the reason why, because that every time I see like this doctor coming into this situation, I'm like, oh, I've been there. I know where you're coming from. Don't tell me that, oh, you forgot, or don't tell me that that text was sent but didn't send. That email that was supposed to go out, the check's in the mail kind of, I've been there. But in order to get real and make some changes, you got to start with yourself. So you peel that mask off. And then you start to see the lies that are out there and the concepts and the ideas. And what do I say lie? Because oftentimes what we do is take an accepted truth, if you will, what is accepted by somebody else, often the collection of a series of opinions, untested truths, untested realities of a bunch of men or women prior to us coming to this point. I don't care what it is. You look back at the battery that Tesla was trying to develop, and somebody questioning was like, is that really true? Like, and the only way that Elon could get to this point of actually seeing this was that he was 100% authentic himself. He's taken so much heat in the marketplace, but he don't really care because he's got a vision, he's got a passion, he knows what he is doing, and he's built like 3 or 4 now billion-dollar businesses from like the financial industry, like PayPal, to Tesla, to space exploration, and now a solar company. You look at it. That is not somebody that sits around and takes the truths of other men. That is somebody that is actually studying that. He's taken his mask off. He knows 100% authentically who he is, so that he may see the truths or question the truths of out there of men and women that have led this to be. And so what is the example that you can work? Well, first you got to take your mask off, and then you start prying back and peeling away the masks of everything that's around you, everyone that's around you. Oftentimes you cannot peel somebody else's mask, but you can see that they're wearing one. And this is one of the healthiest things that you can do, in the fact that you start to see reality. You start to see true reality. You start to see it from a standpoint of like, I got to question that. That doesn't make any sense. For instance, your workout should consist of calories in, calories out, and burning more calories than you actually take in. That's the only way that you can get the body that you want. Okay, and you question this, is this true? There's other truths out there that says, look, you can lose weight by reducing inflammation. The chemistry that you actually eat on a daily basis, the stresses that you have and hold, will keep your body in an inflamed state. You reduce inflammation, and the body will naturally shed fat. Fat is a buffer. Fat actually holds toxins. Fat does all these types of things. So you question, and you now have a new truth that sits for you. The educational system, your kids need to go to school. Your kids should be vaccinated. Your kids should fill in the blanks. Have you ever questioned that? You accepted the truths, the assumptions of men prior to you coming across this concept, and you inhaled it as your own. You did not question it. You see, the only reason that I homeschool our kids, and I said, say we, my wife is in charge and does most of it, but we made the decision based on the concept of asking a greater question. We pulled off our masks and said, authentically, this is what we want for our kids. And then we look at the school system and say, that does not fit what we actually wanted for our kids. So we have to ask a bigger and better question in the aspects of like, how do we create this for our kids? Who can create this for our kids? And we get into this concept of like, nobody else can lead our kids the way that we should be leading our kids. So I guess it's up to us to lead our kids. And then we create our own truths. We question reality. We question the truths of the environment, of the universe, if you will. We question everything. And you start flipping off the news. Because you're like, dude, that doesn't... none of that is actually truth. It's smoke and mirrors. I don't care if you're Fox News or CNN. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. If you're super Republican or super Democratic. It's all a bunch of lies. On both sides, they're all hiding something. They all have layers of mask on that they've never questioned some of the truths. And so you get to this point that you're actually starting to see. Vaccinations are a big debate. And not to be had here in the aspects. But you question the truths. And you question the aspects of, has anybody put this to the test? Does this hold true? Do all of these vaccinations, 64 vaccinations by the time we're 6, does that increase in vaccination add to our health? We ask the question. You ask the question. Because authentically, you're asking questions that are bigger and beyond you because you're starting to see truths. Take that question. That's fine. Answer it for yourself, not listening to me. And in the essence of you even listening to this, you're buying into truths that aren't yours. You see, these are mine. And if you trust and validate, and I would have you consider that you actually only bring in very few people in your lives that you would trust and take their advice and test and to see if they're connected, to see if they're authentic. Have they taken their masks off to challenge the truths, challenge the masks of the universe, of these concepts and these ideas and these people? Because if they haven't, you can go away. You've heard me often. This is why my family will not be led on a Sunday by some other person that's going to put mask on. If you take that mask off and get real and you have this spiritual connection that's beyond me, then I might actually jump in your arena and learn something. But for me and my household, I will lead spiritually in that direction. I will lead physically in that direction. I will challenge the way workouts are done. I always have challenged these workouts because authentically, they do not serve most people. Sorry, CrossFit. It's a shot at you. But unless you are going to compete, unless you need to lift 250 pounds repetitively throughout the day and stack it up on a shelf, like a box on a shelf, then this does not serve you. 2-step process today. 1 is peeling off your mask to get authentically real with yourself, and you will find the truths that you never knew existed. You will see the truths. You will see the lies that people actually live. By peeling off your mask, you're going to see things differently. Not to judge, not to do anything more than to see. And as you see, you start to question at a higher level the universe. And you start to question and start to formulate your own opinions and your own truths. In love and light, and bringing you truths every day. We'll talk to you next time.